Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and I was always told I had a voice radio, so today I'm doing a companion video. My previous video, I lost the coin flip, big surprise. In my previous video, I showed you the Vespiquen Flareon deck, and in this video, I'm going to be showing it to you in action. This is the exact list that I showed you on my previous video. Now, a couple people did point out that other YouTubers tend to do the list and video in the same video, list and the game. I'm not a fan of that because I don't want you to try and dig through the video to get to the game. Some people want to see the games, not the list, so I present them to you separately. Now I've lost the flip and I'm going first. I've chosen to put a Wobbuffet into the active. Reason is, I've got an unknown on the bench, that's going to draw me a card. Okay, and I can see here I'm playing against Garchomp. I've got an unknown on the bench and I've got a Sycamore in hand. Now, if I was going to need to use a Shaman to get set up this turn, I wouldn't leave Wobbuffet in the active. Wobbuffet turns off my Shaman. But what I'm looking at is, you know what? I'm going to be able to draw a few cards this turn. I'm going to be able to have a half-decent setup. So I want to make sure that my opponent really has a hard time setting up. I want to turn off their Shaman. The other thing is, let's remember, we've just seen they're playing a Garchomp deck. And they're probably going to be playing a Maxis, and if they're going second, they are going to be playing a Maxis, and it's really hard to get Maxis Hidden Ball Trick working when you haven't got Shaman or other abilities. So I'm going to play a Battle Compressor first of all. I want to get rid of 3 Pokemon ideally. Now I'm going to get rid of my Aldino. Aldino's there. Oh, I might have a Wobbuffet. I've used my one Wobbuffet. I'm not going to need a second. Aldino is there to get rid of stuff like Hypnotoxic Laser or to counter Trevenant. Excelgor, because Excelgor has the automatic paralysis. I'm not going to need them in this matchup. So I get rid of the Aldino straight away. I get rid of the Wobbuffet. I might need one Wobbuffet in this game, but I've got my Wobbuffet there and ready to go. There is an outside chance my opponent's going to use a Maxis to try and get an Archeops going, in which case I won't be able to evolve my Pokemon. So I can put a Wobbuffet active after my opponent takes a KO, turn off Archeops, and then do my evolution. So I play my Sycamore, and I get a Vespiquen, and I get a Forest of Giant Plants. Now we're rolling. Here's the thing. If he gets a turn 1 Garchomp, that does 60. That can KO a Combee. It cannot KO a Vespiquen. Now here, arguably, I could be using an Ultra Ball. Oh, and there's a VSC, because that's going to really help me next turn. I could be using an Ultra Ball to get a Shaman and setting up even more. I don't really need to. Oh, and I've actually got a Shaman there. So here's what I'm going to do. I Ultra Ball my 2 Fire Energy. I'm going to need them to use Blacksmith later on anyway. And what I can do is grab myself a second Vespiquen. And you see there, on the first turn of the game, I've got 2 Vespiquens rolling. And I've got a VS Seeker for next turn, and I've got a DCE for next turn, and I've got a Shaman for if that Wobbuffet gets taken out of the active. Because remember, Wobbuffet only works in the active. Now, a slight risk here. I don't like attaching DCE on the first turn of the game. My opponent can play a Zerosic or an Enhanced Hammer, etc. The reason I'm doing it is I'm going to be Sycamoring next turn anyway. And here, now next turn, I can use a DCE to retreat the Wobbuffet, whereas otherwise I would have to get a Floatstone. Now here's an interesting thing, he's used a Trainer's Mail to get a Pokemon Catcher, and he's using another Trainer's Mail here. What's he going to get? Another Pokemon Catcher. Now here's the thing, he needs those Pokemon Catcher, because if he hits on a Pokemon Catcher, Vespiquen goes in the active, and Wobbuffet, remember, only blocks abilities when he's active. So playing Wobbuffet here, maybe that, I don't know, I couldn't see. But it may well be that my opponent had other options he wanted to take from the Trainer's Mail, but he was forced into taking 2 Pokemon Catcher with the Trainer's Mail to grab my Vespiquen active. As a side note here, he should have played the first Catcher before playing the second Trainer's Mail, because if he'd hit heads on that first Catcher, he could have used the second Trainer's Mail for something else. As it happens, he hits tails, so it's a moot point, but he should have played and he hits ahead, so he gets the Wobbuffet out the active. Now, I've got a Shaman, and I've got a VS Seeker ready to go next turn. That's pretty darn good. So my opponent's slight misplay there. He should have played the Catcher before playing the Trainer's Mail, because as it was, when he played the second Trainer's Mail, he didn't know if he needed to use if he needed that second Catcher or not. Oh, and it looks like he's scooping because maybe his Shaman's prize. He has nothing there. And you can see the extra speed, the setup I had there on the first turn of the game basically led my opponent to go, you know what? This isn't worth it. I don't want to play this game anymore. Had I just had 2 Combies on the bench, maybe he doesn't. So let's see a second game, because that game wasn't much of a game. And am I going to win the coin flip? I get to choose this time. No, I don't win the coin flip. I have won 6 coin flips in my first 39 games, I think. No, 36. I've won 6 of my first 36 coin flips since being back. Why am I counting? Because it's such a ludicrous thing. And one of the reasons that I started building this Forest of Giant Plants list is because I do lose coin flips a lot. And I know that sounds silly, but, well, you've just seen me play 2 games in a row. Hey, Joe. And I have lost both of those coin flips. So now, going second, I get to actually try something. Now, I don't have a Forest of Giant Plants, but I have a Combi, I have a Vespiquen, and I can try and get an attack turn 1. Hey, Joe again. Now, here's the thing. He's just attached a Fighting Spirit belt. That gives him 40 more HP and allows him to do 10 more damage. And he gets a Frozen City now, which means that if I evolve my Pokemon, I'm taking 20 more damage. Slight pain, but hey-ho. Hopefully I'll get a Forest of Giant Plants and it won't matter. Now you see I'm playing against a Plasma deck here. That Lugia is going to take 2 prizes every time it takes a KO. That's a problem. So again, I've got a turn 1 Battle Compressor. I want to start dumping Pokemon. I'm not expecting him to be playing Laser. Most Plasma decks either play Lugia or Laser. They rarely play both. So I get rid of an Aldino. I get rid of a Wobbuffet. I'm not going to be wanting Wobbuffet in the active this turn. You know, if Lugia kills a Wobbuffet, he only takes 1 prize, but that's a moot point, so it really doesn't matter. So yeah, that's irrelevant. So I get rid of him, and I get rid of a Sycamore because I've got a VS Seeker in my hand. So I can drop an Aldino here and a Jirachi. I'm going to be Sycamoring this turn. And I'm just going to get, well, I could get another Combi here, or I could get an Unknown. I mean, really, I want to draw a Forest of Giant Plants before I go ahead and use Sycamore. But I choose to get an Eevee. Why? My Jolteon isn't prized, and I want to be able to hit that Lugia for weakness. So there we go. So I play a Shaman there, and I get to draw 4 cards. I really want the Forest of Giant Plants. I don't hit one, but I do hit a Computer Search. So here, rather than put down the Unknown, I'm going to Computer Search the Wobbuffet and the Unknown, and that is going to allow me to go ahead and just search out the Forest of Giant Plants. Now, at this stage, we can say, well, hang on a second, do I need 4 Forest of Giant Plants when I'm computer searching? The answer is arguably not, but I really want to make the most of it. So here, as long as I can get a DCE, and I've drawn a lot of cards here, off my Sycamore, I will be fine. So I'm playing the Sycamore, and oh, there's still no DCE, but that's alright. Because what I can do here is I can use that Ultra Ball to get rid of an AZ and a Lysander, both of which I can reuse next turn if I want from the VS Seeker. I can grab another Pokemon, probably an Unknown to be honest with you. I think that's probably the best call at this stage. So I can put him on the bench, play a Shaman for 4, and then use... And then if I don't hit the DC, or even if I do, I can then use the Unknown. I suppose it doesn't really matter. Probably should have played the Shaman first. Oh no, sorry, I don't want to use the Shaman here. He's got Lugia. Lugia takes 3 prizes off a Shaman. So I'm trying to avoid using using Shaman at all costs. So now I've got to use a Shaman because I need cards here. I just want to draw as many cards as I possibly can. And I still whiff any energy here. Can't even use Intelligence Gathering for 10. So if you look through, I look at all my Pokemon, there's a whole bunch of Pokemon there, and I've drawn a lot of cards here. I think it says I've got, is that 33 or 23 cards left in my deck? Let me have a quick check now. I'm looking on a fairly small screen here. Either way, I have used a lot of cards here, and I'm not drawing any energy, and that's really quite sad. Okay, I've got 22 cards left in my deck, I think. And I still haven't hit any energy here. Now, as much as I'm complaining about my draws, let's make one thing clear here, ladies and gentlemen. I have used a VS Seeker and I've used a Battle Compressor. So what I could have done earlier in the game is get rid of a Fire Energy or two and a Blacksmith and used VS Seeker to get them back. Now, I've only hit the one Battle Compressor, but the point is, now, here's the thing. I'm getting quite lucky here. He uses Helix Force, 30 damage plus 30 more for each energy attached to me, plus 10. Well, no energy means 40, because he's doing 10 for the Fighting Spirit Belt. 30 plus the 10 plus none for any extra energy. Now, I don't want to Sycamore here because I've got to get rid of a Combi and a Flareon, but I'm taking EX KOs. I need 3 attackers, assuming I get 1-hit KOs with each. So probably 4 to be safe. And still no energy here. And I've got a full bench, so I can't even do any Unknown or Shaman or anything shenanigans here. And I couldn't really have done any more with the bench. I've got 2 Shaman down. I've got 2 Vespiquen, a Flareon and a Jolteon. Now I do have a Fire Energy, which I'm going to attach to the Flareon, because I don't want to use Intelligence Gathering. Intelligence Gathering means that he can hit for 70. So I'm going to attach 1 Fire Energy to the Flareon, and then next turn I can get a Fire Energy or, whatever. Now, the question is here, I'm actually in a situation, I think that's 16 cards left in deck. I'm running quite low on deck, so as much as I really want to hit those energy, I've got to be very, very careful. Now, what I'm thinking here essentially is, okay, I've got a couple Vespiquen and a Flareon down. Can I keep a 1-1 Flareon line and a 1-1 Vespiquen line in my deck, just in case he starts taking prizes? I'm probably not getting a 1-hit KO on that Deoxys, because that Fighting Spirit Bout gives him a HP, I think, of 210. That's 19 Pokemon in the discard, which with me only playing 27, it's a lot to ask for. So I'm thinking here, and now I'm being rushed, rightly so, I'm taking a while. So I get rid of an energy and the Forest of Giant Plants. I'm a little worried about that, whether he's playing a second Frozen City. I don't think it's going to be a huge deal either way, because he's probably getting 1-hit KOs regardless. But there we go. And now I'm really thinking, what can I afford to get rid of? So I get rid of a Floatstone, and then I get another Battle Compressor. Would have been nice to get one of those early when I had all those VS Seekers, but it's a moot point, it doesn't matter, it's happened. Now, I could probably, to be honest, get rid of the Forest of Giant Plants and maybe the Blacksmith here. But now I've put my deck down, I've got 9 cards left in my deck. And now I'm just going to retreat to the other Vespiquen. I know he's only doing 40 damage at this stage. I would be very surprised if he got a Lugia this turn. It could happen if he plays 2 Colress Machine to attach Plasma Energy from his deck, and then a DCE, and retreats the, the Deoxys. He could get a Lugia this turn, but I'd be very surprised. Instead, he plays down a Jirachi and uses that to Colress. Now, the other thing is, I think I've used 3 VS Seeker at this stage, which is a bit of a problem, because what I really want to be doing in this game, I want to get a DCE, and then I want to Lysander up and KO his Lugia, which is both weak now that I've got a Jolteon out making all my stage 1s lightning type, and a threat. Not only that, but I want to be grabbing his Jirachi, which is an easy KO, and you can see there 3 VS Seeker. And I think my Lysander as well, so I've only got a maximum of 1 Lysander for the remainder of this game. And I finally hit an energy. With 8 cards left in my deck, I've finally drawn my first double colourless energy. Now, I'm not going to get a KO here, but I'm not terribly worried. Because what I can do here, and at this stage, I really should just be drawing energy for the rest of the game. Because if I draw a Blacksmith or an energy or a fire, I can attack with the Flareon. So I don't get the KO, but that's not the end of the world. Even if he attacks with Lugia this turn and takes 2 prizes, heck, even if he attacks with Lugia and KOs a Shaman, I can then KO his Lugia back. He's only ahead by 1 prize, and all he's got to attack with is the Deoxys. So I'm not panicking yet. Now, we do see that Colress Machine coming down, attaching a Plasma Energy from the deck to his Lugia. But he's not going to want to use a Lugia on that Vespiquen. So I'm not worried. I'm not too worried yet. Now, maybe that Thunderous becomes an issue. Thunderous hits for 30 with 3 Deoxys or 1 Deoxys and a Muscle Band. He will actually be hitting 60 and he will be able to KO a Shaman hitting for weakness. But again, I'm not terribly worried here. It's about the prize race. Yes, the worst case scenario is he starts killing Shamans, but he's looking at taking 3 KOs for the win. I'm looking at taking 3 KOs for the win. But I'm going to need a bit less. All I need is energy, and I'm taking KOs for the rest of the game here. Now he ends me, and this is beautiful, because as much as it makes me closer to decking out, it's going to give me 6 cards. And I know I'm getting an energy off this. And you see there, now we're rolling, and this is where my deck's, loving me now. I've weathered the storm. I've managed to live through those lean times. I've now got a Vespiquen on the bench. I've got a Combi Vespiquen in hand with a Forest of Giant Plants out so I can evolve them straight away. And I've got an Eevee I can bench with a Ultra Ball I can get a Flareon next turn. I've got a Fire Energy to attach to that Flareon. So I've got enough. I've got 2 attackers out, 2 attackers ready to go, and 2 lots of energy ready to go. So he's a prize up. Now here, I'm going to make a silly. What I'm thinking is, I want the Flareon on the bench, because he can use a DCE or a Fire Energy, or a Blacksmith, whereas Vespiquen has to have a DCE. So I want to attack with a Vespiquen, I want the Vespiquen to die, and then my Flareon is going to be my next attacker. He's easier to use. Here's what I'm not thinking about. He's got a Thunderous on the bench, I've got 50 HP remaining, a Muscle Band or 2 Deoxys, or a Fighting Spirit Bout and 1 Deoxys, and he can actually KO the Vespiquen with Thunderous. So I'm playing it safe here, getting the KO with Vespiquen. Also, notice I'm hitting 170. When that Vespiquen goes down, I'm hitting 190 and I'm golden. Oh, look. And it's a DCE. So now I've really got no problems. And what I want to do now is use that Ultra Ball to kill an Ultra Ball and a Forest of Giant Plants, get my Flareon out the deck, and then basically make my entire deck energy. Because that's what's going to happen. He takes a KO, I put down the Combi Vespiquen, Ultra Ball and Forest of Giant Plants, and then my deck is basically just energy and Blacksmith, and I'm going to get KOs all game. And here's what he's doing. He's going for the Deoxys. Had I gone for the Flareon, he can't get a KO with Thunderous. So it's a misplay on my part. I was playing it safe. I was worried about being end, but even if he ends me, I've got 5 cards in hand, 4 from the end plus 1 from my top deck. So, to be perfectly honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I should have gone attacking with a Flareon here. I didn't, because it's easier to get the Flareon rolling than it is the Vespiquen, but still a poor play on my part. Because especially, I had the energy in hand. If he ends me, I'm drawing 5 cards and I've only got 11 left, including my hand. So even an N isn't terribly worrying. Now you see he's got the 2 Deoxys down, he's got the KO this turn, and quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, I've made a bit of a silly. It's not the end of the world yet. Now that Fighting Fury bout he puts on the Deoxys, he should have put it on the Thunderous. I'm now hitting 190. Thunderous's HP would have gone up to, I believe, 210. Although, to be honest, I could have used Ultra Ball to get rid of the Vespiquen and the Combi, and then I would have done enough. It wouldn't have been ideal, but I could have done that. That would have been an option. Yeah, he would have gone up to 210 with the Fighting Spirit belt. Having said that, I still would have had 2 Flareons to finish out the game, and I could have Ultra Balled the Combi Vespiquen. So even if he'd put the Fighting Spirit bout down, I could have got the KO, but I don't know why he put it on the Genesect. What he wants to do is stop me taking a KO, and he should know I'm currently hitting for 190. Just so you know, I've put the Jolty on active because he's got free retreat. So again, I'm building up the Vespiquen. Why am I building up the Vespiquen? Because Flareon is easier to build up. So here I play the Ultra Ball, I get rid of 2 cards in my deck, and when I take out that Flareon, all I've got left is a DCE and a Blacksmith. Now I play the Flareon, and even if he ends me, I've got Forest of Giant Plants, 2 energy and a Blacksmith. So if he ends me, I'm drawing free cards, there is no possible way I don't have a KO next turn. I have won the game at this stage unless I misclick. Because the only thing that's... I mean, I suppose he could put a Fighting Spirit Belt on a Deoxys, but... oh, look, there's a VS Seeker for a Lysander. So... I am going to win the game at this stage, ladies and gentlemen. Life is good. I weathered the storm, and this is the power of this deck. In the late game, you're rolling. In the early game, you haven't always got enough Pokemon to get the KO. That's why I'm playing Jolteon to hit Lightning, a common weakness. That's why I'm playing Forest of Giant Plants, to try and get some sneaky KOs in the early game when my opponent isn't fully set up. Now, I should remind you at this stage to click that like button. It only takes a second, and I assure you, every time the like button gets clicked, I feel warm and fuzzy on my inside. It makes me a happy boy. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. I lost 3 subscribers when I put the last video up, and that made me sad. So if you want to go find some more subscribers, friends, relatives, people that play the Pokemon trading card game, hobos on the street, get them to subscribe. I will be happy. And of course, if you want to talk about this deck, or talk about the game, or tell me I'm an idiot for various reasons, that's what the comment section is for, ladies and gentlemen. So, there's the end of video stuff done. He gets a KO with Lugia, he gets to take a couple of prizes, but I can now put the Flareon active and hit for stupid damage. I've actually got the KO here, even without the Jolteon on the bench. I think I'm hitting for 210. With the Jolteon on the bench, I am now hitting, I want to say, 420 damage, which is a lot. I'm just double checking he hasn't played a Hex Maniac. Not that it matters, because firstly, he took 2 prizes with a Lugia, and secondly, I've got the KO without the Jolteon, but it's always nice just to be doubly sure. So I hit 420 damage, take my last 2 prizes, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is a victory. They were the first 2 games I played after I recorded my deck breakdown, went second both times, set up well both times, won both games. I think it's a pretty good list. That's what the comments are for. Thank you very much for watching. Look after yourselves till next time. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.